Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome in to another edition of NFT Live on the Web3 Network. This is a surprise, ladies and gentlemen. Biggie did not tell us that he is hopping on today. Biggie, what's up, dude? How you doing? You're still alive.
Dude, I'm a fucking live and I'm jet lagged like a motherfucker. But yeah, I was like, perfect time to jump in and talk with my peeps, dude. It's like 1:12 a.m. over here, man. And dude, I like went to bed too early, got up. I was like, dude, I'm fucking like, what time is it over there? And I was like, dude, perfect, dude. NFT Live is about to start. Let's join this shit. There's a lot to talk about, my friends. I picked
You
a heck of a time to leave.
you left as the world was collapsing on a micro level and now a macro level with SVB.
Dude, it's surreal, man. I've been throwing up my hands the whole time. My wife is like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I world's falling apart." Honestly, like the whole fucking week, man. It's been like, what's going on? It's like it just keeps getting fucking crazier, man. Like honestly, there's no telenovela that can fucking beat the crypto space, right? On top
Truth.
of just the real world. It's insane.
Gift Dad's fresh off the GM Web3 morning show. What's up, my man?
Oh,
Oh, you're muted. We're still
Of course
professionals
I
here.
am. But I was gonna say, Biggie, you couldn't have planned your vacation more perfectly, apparently, to avoid a lot of the chaos that we're all dealing with right now. But yeah, as far as like GM Web3, it was very market heavy today, more than normal. And I have to also say, these are words that I never thought I would say, but I'm upset that I wasn't able to collect my stamps, Starbucks. I never thought I'd be upset about not being able to collect stamps, but like the website went down. Apparently, it was just too much traffic for them to handle. And their limited edition Starbucks Odyssey, the first limited edition NFT, I couldn't get it because of their website. And I don't know. I think it's funny that I'm over here upset about stamp collecting, but that's where we're at.
You talked about Starbucks on the show, obviously, like that was what you kind of rolled in on. What's the metric of success for this Starbucks NFT? Because you were like, yeah, it's been super successful, but what does that mean? Are they bringing a ton of volume in? Like,
I think that's an interesting question, and you could probably answer it a lot of different ways from the outside. I'm sure internally they're looking at, are we activating and engaging our community? Are we acquiring new people into our rewards program, into our community? And how active are people? Is this going to be something that we feel like we can spin into more sales? At the end of the day, that's their business.
Yeah.
Their business is selling coffee and shit at their stores, right? So it's like, at the end of the day, this is a rewards program for Starbucks stores. And so building brand loyalty, doing all these different engagement things, NFTs, it does build brand equity and it creates something cool. But if at the end of the day, it's not translating into some kind of additional sales or anything, then it's not going to be something that they're going to want to really focus on long term, right? So I think the way that they're doing it, though, they understand that this is right now more about community brand equity engagement, and that over time it creates more opportunities for those touch points and more reasons for people to want to go to the stores, right? Because now you see a Starbucks and you're thinking, hey, they also, like, I was just learning about their coffee in Colombia and collecting their fucking stamps, and now you have more affinity. So it's like you go back more. You know what I mean? So I think they're smart enough to understand it's a long game here, but yeah, I'm sure they're looking at a lot of different KPIs, and at the end of the day, they're going to want to try and tie it back to sales somehow.
All right, I just had like a complete malfunction with my audio. Yeah,
you sound weird.
I'm gonna try to fix that. Biggie, give us an update, man. How's your Galavan around the world been?
Man, it's been awesome, dude. I started off in Madrid, so these past 2 weeks have been kind of like fast paced. I started off in Madrid, which was really, really cool. I got a chance to visit a couple of galleries, man. Got a like private tour of one of them that's doing some really cool stuff with AI art and the NFT space. I have to say, You know, that it's really cool to see that Europe is like embracing this, right? From there I went to Amsterdam, which was pretty cool. Couple of nights there, visit some family, visit some coffee shops, you know, sample the goods. It's fucking hilarious to me that you walked into like the greenhouse, right? Like it's one of the biggest seed banks in the world. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Greenhouse. It's like the coffee shop in Amsterdam. Arjun is like a legend, and he's been collecting seeds for years. I think he's got the most variety in the world, right? And you walk in there and you see the menu, and I don't know if you guys know, I used to live in Europe back in the day, and I was in Paris, France. So it's like a 3-hour train ride to Amsterdam. So I used to go on the weekends all the time and visit. And so I'm taking a look at the local offerings, and then right underneath they have like California offerings, dude, and it's like twice the price, dude, and like 3 times the THC content. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? You know, it's like
import,
you know,
export.
It imported and shit. It was like it's hilarious, man. But it was a good time. Had some good conversations there too. A couple of people that are into NFTs as well. And then from there, I flew to Singapore to visit some friends, which was really, really nice. And now I'm in Bali, Indonesia, where I'll be for the next 2 months or so. Yeah, man, that's right outside my door, dude. It's insane, man. I'll
Dude,
keep updating you guys, but it's gorgeous, man.
What are they growing there?
What kind
Those
of
are
rice, right?
rice.
It's
Yeah,
rice.
that's rice, brother. Yeah,
Okay.
those are rice paddies, man.
I didn't want to assume.
Yeah,
that's
and
really
that
cool.
that mountain on the far end is a volcano, Mount Algun, which is like one of their 2 volcanoes. That's the largest one. And yeah, dude, you wake up here at 6:30 in the morning, like as the sun goes up, just naturally, and you know, 8:20 p.m. It starts going down, and you fall asleep. But you know, DJs don't sleep. So I woke up and I was like, dude, like, let's see what's up. See what's up with the crew. It's really, I've missed you guys, and I've missed the chat as well. I've been trying to keep up with everything that's been happening. God damn, dude.
Yeah.
Like between like all of the NFT space like imploding and trying to eat itself alive. And then now this with the Silicon Valley Bank, man, it's like, yeah, I am definitely happy that I chose to fucking, you know, take some time off at this moment, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be stressful.
How's the audio? Is the audio okay?
Yeah.
Okay, the audio's back. Okay, folks, we are going to get to everything that's ongoing within the SVB side. USDC depegged to like 88 cents at one point, which obviously has far-reaching implications. Coinbase was saying that they were not going to have withdrawals at one point. They like paused withdrawals on USDC over the weekend. So a lot of stuff that affects us. Biggie, we've been talking about Moonbirds while you've been gone too. There've been a lot of things
man,
happening.
Look, represent, dude. Fuck all these bitches, dude. Like, I'm sorry, I just can't. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a little entertaining to watch. It's been hard to bite my tongue, man. But honestly, I don't know, man. Facts are just fucking facts, and yeah, the floor price sucks. But I don't know. To me, it's just really funny to see all of a sudden these people that hide behind their little JPEG avatars become like some fucking, like, all of a sudden like they're experts on a 2-year nascent fucking industry, and they suddenly know how it's supposed to work and how it goes, and apparently like they're in the fucking Discord and they're in the fucking meetings all the time, and so they seem to know what's going on, and it's just hilarious to watch. But facts are facts, man. Like 88% is staked and happy, and all the trading, all the floor price between the Blur whale and all this shit, it's literally just 22% that's been changing hands. And I don't know, I hope that we've gotten some new users that understand what we're all about. But honestly, I'm sitting comfy. You know, I love my crew, I love my community, and I'm very bullish on them. You know, I think that if you're a serious person and you take the time to actually read, and you know, there's no reading between the line. It's one of the most transparent teams out there. And yeah, there's been mishaps, you know, which happen. They just do. You know, as an investor, you should know that, and you should have a longer time frame, and you should have a bigger fucking measuring stick than just fucking floor price, right? But hey, I think it's a sign also that, of the growing pains, right? Of the quality of our team. I think all the best teams get fudded like this. I know Yuga has, I know a bunch of them do. So, I mean, bring it on. It's fine. Like it really doesn't bug me. I mean, it bugs me a little bit being, somebody that takes out his frustrations, IRL, like I'm like, man, I wish I would have been in East Denver. I wish I could I would challenge you motherfuckers to come and say that type of shit, the shit that you're spewing in my face. I would love to. I would love to treat you to, a fucking rear naked choke or snap your fucking legs and see you talk then, like honestly, I can say it from the bottom of my heart. I'm a pacifist, and I can say that because I'm capable of tremendous fucking violence. I'm not a scrawny fucking dude hiding behind my keyboard being a coward. But I know that most of these people will never show up in IRL events, would never say the things that they say online, which is just and again, it's like it's to me it's a bummer to see because like I think that we're supposed to be bigger than that. It's such a small space. We're trying to all grow it. We're supposed to be wag me all together, but lo and behold, it's not the case. And so fucking be it, like bring it. I honestly don't care.
I have to say that I agree with at least the point being made that there's a lot of people, especially on Twitter, that sit behind screens and are extremely toxic, that aren't doing anything to contribute, aren't building anything. They're armchair experts, if you want to call it that. They're couch experts, and they FUD and they talk shit. And like, dude, I've been, obviously experiencing a lot of this lately, like people coming out of the woodwork that I've never seen show up to any of our events, any of the things that we're doing, that are not out there doing much, building, really meaningful projects or communities of their own. But they're the first ones to show up when there's some, an opportunity.
The space is so small to be like
see how much
going drama at each
attention they
other.
get, I have no context. I just saw something that Q posted and I read a little bit of it, but I mean, just the accusations gif, I couldn't help but laugh, man. I know you are one of the biggest supporter of women in this space, and I don't know who that chick was, but
we're not gonna get.
They're just people that are like really into outrage porn, right? And it's funny. Like to me, it's like going to a jiu-jitsu class. Take your outrage there, dude. Trust me, it'll do wonders for you. Or meditate, or do yoga, or whatever. But like, honestly, like I do not understand like how you sit behind a computer and take that shit out there. It's like.
So the unfortunate thing is that the algorithms reward this kind of behavior, right? That's why a lot of it happens, is that these are attention machines. Like that's what it is. And so if you can score points and feel like you're doing something by getting, basically engagement farming at the expense of others, like a lot of people take those opportunities, and it's, it sucks. It is what it is, but that's just part of the current landscape to deal with. And that's what makes it really hard for founders. But I think to your point, Biggie, like the good founders, they keep doing what they're doing. They're not going to stop. They, if you have values, if you have principles, sometimes that costs you, but like you stick by those, right? And I don't know, man, this is getting a little bit meta, and I don't want to go further down this, but I have a lot of questions for you, Biggie, about the Moonbirds.
Yeah,
one of them is like, my understanding of the like roadmap 2.0 is that they're getting rid of staking. What does that mean for all of these, the happy people that you say like 88% or whatever that are staked? What does that mean if they're getting rid of staking?
Well, I think part of it is, staking was meant, to show, loyalty or conviction, right? And again, like there's been, it's an experiment, right, that they tried on, and it sort of has worked, right? I really do believe that the majority, the 88% that are staked still are not, waiting, for unstaking or for diamond nest rewards to come. So I'm sure you'll see some trading, maybe some people taking money off the table, but I think it's just giving people the liberty to be able to do that without the stress of having to worry about this what do you call it, this tracking mechanism that initially started. I'm a day one nester myself. There's been occasions where maybe I've considered that I want to take some money off the table, but I know that if I unstake certain assets, you don't know how that will affect the rest of your stuff. I mean, you do, but it just adds an extra layer of let's say, having to calculate, how it's going to play out for you, and it's unnecessary at this point. I think, like with the amount of people that are high conviction holders, there's other ways to reward them without having to, take roll call, let's say, all for time-based roll call. Like, I think it was a nice experiment. It was a good experiment. But in the end, I feel like it's not necessary.
Is there an exodus that happens? Like, are they all going to have to unstake at some point and like move, from a contract off to something like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess that's like logistically, doesn't it mean that there's some movement that has to happen?
Yeah, I imagine there will be some unstaking. I haven't, honestly, like, since I've been traveling, I haven't kept up as frequently with all of the updates. I imagine you will have to unstake, right? Because it's locked in a contract. But other than that, yeah, I don't think there will be any other issues. Of course, diamond rewards will be the final reward tier or nest tier that you'll be able to reach, and you'll be able to mint some stuff. Yeah.
Squashman, I appreciate the alfalfa this morning saying Sesame Street dropping Cookie Monster NFTs on VV for $60 on March 19th. Should bring back the bull in full force. Listen, if anything is going to do that, the Jeffrey NFTs out of Toys R Us didn't do it. Unfortunately, I believed
we thought
in the Toys R Us yacht meme, and if anything's going to do it, it's going to be Sesame Street.
I mean, did you see the roadmap, Q? Did you see the roadmap?
The Sesame Street one?
No, the Joffrey, the Jeffrey, the giraffe roadmap. I love that you're on with the yacht. Dude,
folks.
Wait. Okay, go ahead.
No. Real quick, I just to use Gift Ed's term, I want to re-ranch it just a tad. We're gonna stay in this conversation. We haven't talked to Biggie in what feels like 10 years. It's been a month, and we're we're gonna continue to get the updates. Before we get started, I did have the NFT live tweet for the day. It would be dope if you guys could go to this tweet and give it a like, give it a retweet, reply, do whatever you'd like with it. This is the one for today. So we're going to continue to talk a little bit about Biggie's projects and topics that we wish we've had him on the show for the last month. But we do have to get to SVB. We have to get to USDC. That is the biggest news of the day.
Wait, can I ask Biggie one more question before we do?
God. Yeah. Go.
Okay. Yes. So one thing that I noticed this morning, looking across, we're doing our NFT Go bag check like we do, and I have to say I'm very surprised given the quality of the founders from each project, the things that are going on behind the scenes with each of them. I'm very surprised that Moonbirds has been struggling to hold its floor lately, is down around like 5 or 6 ETH, something like that. Azuki is at 15 ETH. And I'm curious what you think is going on. Why is Azuki holding a floor 3x Moonbirds? Because it doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, I echo that sentiment, Q, but I'm not the one to... Dude, no, honestly, I mean, I don't have a clear-cut answer for you there. I feel like, again, this very nascent industry and market determines winners and losers based a lot on social media and engagement, and I think Azuki's very good at it. It's done brilliantly that way. I'm not too familiar with their golden skateboard beans mechanisms or everything. I mean, I think the art is fine. Yeah, given their history and a couple of other things that sometimes come off as strange, to not say shady. Yeah, I can't say why it's holding its 15 ETH floor and why Moonbirds is at 4.5. Like, these things are it's the ebbs and flows of the market, and I have no control over that. What I do know is Proof and Moonbirds, and I can talk about like what they're working on and the deliverables that have occurred. And I mean, I would just say I feel like they're undervalued, but the market doesn't seem to think so. And time will fucking tell. I'm comfy with my bags. I have no stress whatsoever in those regards, but it is what it is, right?
Azuki seems to be benefiting from Blur as well. Like Blur's obviously taking over the majority of volume share there, and like this announcement came out as well. So they're already featured right on the front page. Like if you go to Blur, Azuki is like featured front and center. There's a feature announcement here from Blur saying you can now browse and buy NFTs on mobile. More mobile functionality coming soon. They're also using Azuki in the GIF. And so I think more than some projects, I don't know the reason behind this. Maybe they have like some ties in on the back end with the two teams, but Azuki seems to be benefiting from Blur's rise. That's the vibe I get.
Interesting. Yeah, and Squashman and Carl over here talking about the influencers and the names that are kind of in the community having an impact as well. I think Will was making a point about their communication being a lot more transparent lately. So anyway, I was just curious if you had a thought. All right, we can talk SVB now, Q. Thank you for entertaining me.
Before we do, and I want to give another shout out here. One, I got my Manny links. I got it arrived after many.
Oh shit!
Shit! This was painted live at the Web3 Academy. I was able to find the winning auction price here for the Manny links. So it's chilling. I'm becoming an art collector because I'm hanging around with y'all too much.
That is one of the unfortunate side effects of hanging out with us is you will have more appreciation for dope art and dope artists and maybe end up spending a bag collecting from them. That's true. But shout out Manny Links, man. He literally just whipped that up in a couple hours at the Web3 Academy, did it live for the culture. And it looks dope, man.
Absolutely.
Looks nice.
That event looked great, by the way. Hats off to you. I hope we're able to redo something of the sort next year so I can attend. Honestly,
this year,
I'm still in the phase right now, Biggie, that I never want to do another event because like I've been getting over the POAP and the fucking airdrop of like having the flu for the last week. So right now, I feel like I will never do another event. I'm sure that's not the truth, but like right now, I'm in that mode.
All of last week, we were just dead.
Wait.
Like we even like I got DMs that was like, "Hey guys, are you okay? Like you're on stream, like dead behind the eyes, basically." Lost Local this morning said he's still in Denver, and like I almost threw up in my mouth.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine
what
he's
the
going
fuck.
through. Yeah, apparently it snowed really hard. They got kind of stuck. He was there, I guess, for some of the the after conference shenanigans, probably snowboarding or skiing or something, and then got stuck there. And yeah, so he's been there for like a solid two weeks, at least 2.5, maybe. I don't know.
Brutal, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know how I would survive.
Q after like 2 or 3 days, Q was like, "Bro, I'm done. I'm burnt."
You get me in spurts. You definitely get me in spurts. Hey, before we get to the rest of the news, GIF, if you could hit us with the handy dandy, disclaimer here as well.
I'm actually ready this time.
And before Gifted says this, I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole, but I know we've been dealing with a bunch of shit the past week as well, and I just want to put my full support behind you, dude. Like that, I feel like a lot of times when we get into a scenario where the broader public is made aware of what we're doing here, a lot of times that can go negative, right? Like if you're out in the world, if you're the man in the arena, you get a lot of fucking hate from people who have no idea what's going on, that were not at the event whatsoever, and they're gonna say what they have to say, and it's based on follower counts and things like this. So that's the way the world is. And you do a great job of a lot of things in the space. Again, I'm not going to like go into the details here, but I'm fully behind you, my dude. Like you're an amazing creator in the space. So hopefully people can fucking stop being idiots and start to realize that.
I'm not going to bank on people stopping being idiots anytime soon, but I really appreciate that, man. And again, I think to your point about like the man in the arena analogy, it's like I think I'm coming at this now more of an appreciation of like, hey, if I want to be a public figure out here, putting myself out there, constantly trying to create, it's not always going to go well. Some people are not going to like it. Some people are going to get offended, and like you can't let that stop you, you know. And that's just is what it is. It's unfortunate when people do get offended. It's never the intention. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you saying all that. And it, you know, my values haven't changed. They won't change since day one. My values have been the same. And, you know, some people will get it, some won't. We aren't for everybody. Nobody's for everybody. And if you are for everybody, then you're for nobody, right? That's the other part of that. So it is what it is, man. But I really appreciate you saying that. And I feel the same way about y'all and everybody in this community.
You have anything there, Biggie?
It just means you're killing it, man.
I don't know about that, but it does mean that I'm doing something. No, like if people are writing threads, you know, angry, then something's happening. You know, again, whether it's good or bad. Whether it's good or bad.
Threads. Damn. Okay, Gabe.
Look, whether it's good or bad, like it means you're doing something. Like at least you're out there doing something, trying some shit, right? So I'll say that, and I'll also say that this is not financial advice, fam. Information was found publicly on the internet. Opinions shared on this episode are solely of the Web3 team. All information is public domain. Please do your own research, or DYOR, as we like to say. And we'll say that a million more times.
We shall. And I thought I'd never say this, but thank you, I guess, Federal Reserve, because what's essentially happening here over the last 24 to 48 hours is that the big banks have stepped in and said, hey, we are going to save SVB. We are going to come in and make sure everybody's whole. We had a USDC regaining a dollar peg. We had Biden emphasizing that the U.S. banking system is safe after the SVB collapse. The banking system is safe again. Silicon Valley Bank collapse, everything you need to know. So we're going to get into this. Essentially, you know, one of the largest bank collapses in U.S. history, the fallout from said collapse, what that means for Web3, essentially. So we have a lot to get to. That is. I don't even know really where to start. Essentially, what we had was, I guess, like long-term Treasury yield bonds went negative, and essentially, like, we're on people's books. This SVB book, for example, held a lot of assets that essentially lost an extreme amount of value over a certain amount of time. They didn't know if they could repay their depositors, and the U.S. government has now stepped in and said, or I believe the FDIC has stepped in and said, we are going to make sure everybody's whole, and this is where we're at today. Essentially, in a weekend span, going from everything is going to collapse to we're safe, and now maybe even interest rates are going to be a little bit less severe because the Fed doesn't want to spook everybody and spook the markets. That's where we sit today. I know it's a complex and we're going to unpack it here, but that's essentially the TLDR. If you guys have anything on top of that maybe I missed there, definitely hit it. But we'll dive in on multiple articles here.
I'll defer to Biggie first.
Man, yeah, I mean, obviously this completely rang my bell when I was in Singapore, and I've been trying to read up as much as I can on it because, again, like Giff said, this is not financial advice, and I am by no means a financial educator or expert, man. I definitely have been looking up at Lynn Alden and Raoul Pal and all the macro investors out there that have done a great job at breaking this stuff down. What's very clear to me, though, is that we're under attack by our own financial system that just can't fucking cope and is too uneducated to know how to act. I mean, these are the professionals, right, that are in these like high position jobs. And I think again, the reason why I'm in crypto, the reason I got into crypto was because I really just tried to see where we were heading inevitably, right? And this is just part of that narrative, and it's a little bit strange because you try to visualize it, you don't know exactly how it's going to play out, and I don't think, unfortunately, like I feel like this is just a small like quake in the bigger, like a small little seizure in what's to come, right? Like I think this is not our Minsky moment by any means, and so I think it's just very creepy to see this narrative keep playing out as was predicted since 2008, since Satoshi, right? Like, and it's, now apparently like US Treasury bonds are the fucking mortgage-backed securities in 2008. It's fucking insane, insane. That's all I got for you. I'm happy to be in crypto. I'm happy I'm on this side,
That's an interesting way to put it, because what I came to understand better in our discussion this morning on GM Web3 is that these failures is basically caused by the Fed raising interest rates as fast as they did. So the Fed, first of all, printed all the money that created inflation, created all of that volatility and inflation, and then started raising interest rates really quick to try and counteract their own printing.
And saying they weren't. They also said they weren't going to raise it as fast as they did.
Saying they weren't, so lying about that or creating confusion, whatever they were, and that confusion, and then the difference in how high the interest rate got to where these banks were buying their 2 or 3 year bonds. Again, I'm not an expert. This is my understanding, but this was not something crazy. Like the banks weren't speculating. It wasn't FTX. They weren't speculating on crypto. This had nothing to do with crypto. This was about what's supposed to be like the most secure place for your money to be, which is a US dollar backed bond, federal bond, right? And that is what is now too volatile to depend on for these banks, that is causing these banks to go under. And if anything, again, the thing that I'm getting even more appreciation for, like Biggie, what you just said is a fascinating thing, right? You basically said these US bonds, because of the volatility there, are now like the mortgage-backed securities that caused the shit in 2008. They're basically like worthless to these banks if they can't depend on them to be reliable and hold value. That's really interesting, because I'm getting more and more of an appreciation now that these are the exact types of moments that add credence to the crypto thesis, to the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the alternative to the TradFi, scenario. And one of the things that especially hit this home to me was in our conversation, somebody, it might've been Quantum Variant, said basically like, why do we keep pegging things to $1? Right? He was like, I don't even understand why you peg things to $1. And it's like, well, quote unquote, traditionally, at least over the last, 50 to 100 years, over the last century, the dollar has been the global reserve currency. It's been the most stable, safe place to go. But if that has now been so jeopardized that the dollar is no longer as stable as it could be, and you're looking elsewhere, I mean, where else do you go other than a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or something like that? I mean,
yeah, that's a tough take for me, because like you can't go to Bitcoin still has this major volatility, like huge swings that you can't tie. Yeah. You can't tie like your financial future to an asset.
But doesn't that change over time? Like as the last Bitcoin is minted, as adoption scales over time, doesn't volatility...
but that's 100 years from now.
Okay.
Maybe gold.
100.
Gold.
Maybe we go back to gold. Maybe that's it.
Gold.
Maybe that's
Qatar.
Maybe that's the place.
That's the question. You're saying Qatar's here in chat, and I'm going to get to the chat that has hit so far. But Qatar's asking, what else do you peg it to? That's the issue. Where else do you go? And
mind you, like there are countries that peg their currency to the US dollar, like the Hong Kong dollar, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's been what you peg to.
And there's no other option, I think, at this point. There's clearly, like, I don't know, maybe the Chinese yuan. Like we've been talking about the currency war that is going to happen over the next 10 to 20 years, with the US dollar losing more dominance. right? Like the US dollar is not as dominant today, most likely, as it was in the 80s and 90s. I would probably bet.
100%.
So,
But money printer go burr, right? You
I
know?
did have Mike Finch's tweet. Like, this would be great to have him on the channel here. Maybe we could get him in this week. But here's a little bit on the micro side as it relates to like where we're at. This is the Fed's excuse to most directly print money, and also their politically riskiest moment to not slow down rate hikes. So easy to just boil down to low CPI, aka interest or inflation, market go up this week. No other metrics really matter to the Fed here. So he continues to go on. When the final fear becomes regulatory, it will likely also be when OGs and whales are loading in. To that end, I don't think it's time to shift to any strategy or go balls to the wall long yet. It is, however, a great spot to get too aggressive and lose it all before the next generational rocket ship takes flight. He goes on to say, when the bull market's back, you'll know it. So, yeah, look, it's pretty easy to say at the end there, like, when the bull market's back, you'll know it means there's a fuck ton of momentum, not a random spike up, or like these other like some projects here and there, making a ton of money and flipping for a ton of money. When the bull market's back, we'll be in full blown momentum mode here. That you'll see it. So,
and I wouldn't be worried so much about spotting the bull market as spotting the next drop down, man. Like that's I think, like, I still think we're gonna see a lot more shit break, you know. So I mean, unless you are a professional trader, I think this is a good time to just sit on your hands and, you know, don't pretend to be an expert and just fucking chill.
I'd love for you guys to read some of these comments as well if you want to pick out your favorites. Jack Hideaway saying SVB's chief administrative officer was the CFO of Lehman Brothers Investment Bank when it collapsed. There's a lot of
shit. You can't make that shit up. Yeah.
Dude, look at this headline from CNBC. Silicon Valley Bank employees received bonuses hours before the government takeover. They said it was in process days before the bank's collapse. So this, I feel like we're far enough away on a daily basis that we don't, you know, we have to deal with our own shitty influencers and problems in this space, but we don't often have to deal with like the large scale kind of like corruption that you see here in TradFi.
White collar crime.
Just
man.
It peeks its head into our industry every now and then. They like to say how crypto is affecting them. More often, it's them fucking with the financial system and it leaking into our fringe industry here. But man, that's a shitty headline. Like, that's all the reasons why I'm in crypto to begin with, is trying to figure out, and it's why Bitcoin exists at the end of the day.
I think it's no mistake. We are at fucking war, gentlemen. I mean, we've been at war since 2008, and I think right now we're getting the heavy shots, right? Like, you have Elizabeth Warren and a whole bunch of people trying to flip this narrative and blame it on crypto, right? And we just got our on-ramps and off-ramps completely eradicated in the United States, you know? I mean, this is exactly what we were professing since 2008, right? But what they don't understand is that we're like fucking cockroaches. We, you know, we are the most resilient fucking industry in the world, man. And to me, you know, as shitty as this tumultuous moment in time that we're going through in crypto, and then even within crypto, in our own space, NFTs, right? I just can't help but feel that those of us that survive this, that are able to survive this, are going to do well. You know, I'm bullish in this space. Yeah. I believe in it.
There was a little bit of an effect on USDC that we could talk about as well, to the point where Coinbase said we are not allowing USDC USD deposits or swaps, which I feel like was like the acute event where everybody was like, holy shit, like, oh my God, my off ramp for this this space that I'm in is affected. And holy shit, like that was a big moment. Luckily, you know, Monday came around. We were talking about this, how quickly it flip-flopped. That was on Friday. And on Monday, USDC's back to $1 peg. Coinbase is essentially open for business. Thank God. I couldn't imagine what we would be sitting here today if USDC even came close to the word fail, or Coinbase still had not allowed for deposits and swaps there.
That's an interesting alternative timeline to think about, right? Like, what if we woke up this morning, Coinbase was basically like stopping all transactions?
What's the move there? Is it GIF or Biggie? So that happens. We're living in that alternative world. Let's say you needed to cash out of crypto. Are you like going into a Discord, like OTC trading Ethereum for a Venmo payment? Like, what's the offer?
That's an interesting thought.
It makes me think back, like, if in the days when, like, do you guys remember local Bitcoins? Yeah, I feel like that's what we'd end up. It's like, meet me at the parking lot,
OTC,
public
Bitcoin
space,
ATMs.
wait until a couple of confirmations. Let me count my cash. I mean, yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Like, I will say this, though. Like, I've always been of the mind that whatever money, I mean, I understand, like, you need on-ramps, you need off-ramps, period, because you never know what happens. You need to pay taxes, you need to do shit. That's inarguable, right? But as an investor in this space, my attitude has always been whatever is off-ramped into crypto is never meant to come back into fiat. And that's been my point of view. Like, I do not plan to ever off-ramp into fiat again, unless just the bare necessities, right? The necessaries for taxes, stuff like that. But other than that, not coming back, son. That should be your attitude, I feel. Like, I mean, yeah.
All right,
I'm not a trader. I've always said it.
Yeah, I definitely want to get to some more of these comments. Apparently, Justin Casey worked in the bonds trading desks area when the 2008 crisis happened. So I'd love to hear more about that. He said, I was fortunate enough to work on the bond trading desk in 2008 when that shit went down. Bye. Save our souls with your shady backstops, Fed. LOL professionals, you would be terrified if you knew. And I think that has been the case for finance for a long time, and people are starting to wake up to that fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's scary.
You have so no friends on Wall Street. That's the saying. You have no friends on Wall Street.
When you have a bank with 80% deposits from the same industry and a few influential players say, get the fuck out, you get what we just saw. It will work out. Fun times. Also, we'll get into some more of these comments. Jack's Hideaway, Don R. Nick Swervis is in the house. What's up, Swerve? Cartar Squash Man recommended a book called Everything's a Bubble by Graham Summers. Came out in 2017. Breaks down the history of the Federal Reserve and describes how we are in a treasuries bubble. So, all right. So USDC again got lost in this convo a little bit, but it basically depegged to about 88 cents. Almost all stablecoins depegged from their dollar piece, and now Circle is coming back around and saying everything will be available. They had about 3.3 billion with the SVB collapse, but apparently the Fed and the FDIC is handling all of this for us.
So I wasn't smart enough to arbitrage this. Q, did you know anybody that was smart enough? Did Mike Finch make a bag over the weekend?
I don't.
Oh
think
my
so.
God.
I don't think so. Because it's easy to sit here. Okay, so here's the thing. It's easy to sit here and say, I could have arbitraged this. What if you bought it at fucking 88 cents? And there was a mini arbitrage opportunity. I think I saw somebody sold on Robinhood. Basically like bought USDC wherever they did at 88 cents, then sold on Robinhood because that centralized service was using a book system that allowed them to use, like, held at $1. So they basically were able to buy for 88, sell for $1 over and over and over. What if you bought for 88 cents and the shit completely collapsed?
So, again, I don't have that risk tolerance, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It was extremely
It's
risky.
just about that, man. Exactly. Fucking, the space is full of them, right?
But there's always opportunities, which is why we're
yeah. I mean, if you have the stomach to go through that and do it, more power to you, man. Respect for sure. I don't play those games at all. but I mean, I think the more important thing here is that I've been pondering is, I mean, we do need a stable coin, right? And it really brings me back. And I know they're not they've not been the most favorite thing in this space, but like an algorithmic stable coins, no, or alternative or digitally backed stable coins. Like I know that they're the holy grail, and a lot of people try to pull them off. It's not been successful as of yet, but
yes,
God
in
dang, man,
spectacular fashion, they failed.
dude, yeah. But damn, man, I mean, please, some genius, right?
Where's Satoshi when you need him? Yeah, I think like we talked about, as far as the algorithmic stablecoin, it seems like those have all been failures so far. I guess it doesn't mean that like there couldn't be one that works, but yeah, so far hasn't been a good solution.
Okay. I'm going to get to a couple visuals here. You can see this is the second largest collapse in U.S. history, behind Washington Mutual in 2008. So 209 billion at the time last week as SVB collapsed. If you go into the summary here, this is the true first black swan event for markets since the COVID-induced meme stock race. So this is TradFi again. Like, we already had an FTX in our own industry, but maybe it wasn't as far-reaching. Although it definitely feels like those could be on the same level with
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we're still seeing contagion play out from FTX.
So Silicon Valley's bank collapse on Friday is the second largest bank failure. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said earlier Sunday there will be no federal bailout for the stricken bank. I believe this money is again coming from the FDIC insurance fund. That's again my general layman's understanding. Again, no losses will be borne on the taxpayer. Any losses to the deposit insurance fund to make uninsured depositors whole will be recouped by a special assessment on banks. So it's a bailout, like TLDR. It's a little bit of a bailout. If you want to use the insurance fund to cover some of it and have the Fed cover the rest of it, feels like a bailout.
They're bailing out the depositors, which is the most important part. Like, I don't think they're bailing out SVB or the bank. Like, I think the bank is going out of business. I think that's why they fucking gave themselves payouts as they were walking out the door with everything on fire. They're fucking like, let's take as much as we can while we fucking go down. I don't think they're going to bail out any banks necessarily, but they are bailing out the depositors, which is good, right? Because the potential there for this to go really, really bad if the depositors are all fucked is that this would massively centralize banking, because you'd only be able to go to 2 or 3 banks that have enough on their sheets, like trillions of dollars, to not go down, which would basically, change the entire banking market across the nation, kill a lot of businesses over time. So anyway, I think that's the most important part, is they're bailing out the depositors.
Yeah, some of which are, again, Coinbase funds. Like the ability to pay out people who are trying to sell USDC when they're keeping USDC on Coinbase, thinking it's the safest spot. I mean, again, going to that alternate timeline, what happens to what we're trying to do here if we have no off-ramps? No, like, legitimate off-ramps. I think it's maybe a good convo for another
Zero magical cabbage was smoked in Denver by our team. We are peeing clean always.
All right, Yahoo Finance, some summary here. The Fed's next move. So just like Mike Finch said, they have a policy meeting next week. Do they raise interest rates continuously? Do they kind of lighten that decision? And if it's a light decision, it usually is a boon for stocks and other markets like crypto. So there's some other pieces on here. So Etsy, Roku,
Would you say, though,
Rocket
like,
Labs, and Roblox had a ton of cash with these guys. That's my other question related to this stuff, is like, where do crypto folks hold? Like if you're a crypto company, where are you holding your funds at this point?
Yeah.
Because that's
the thing, is that, like, again, if depositors weren't made whole, you would be limited to only the top 2 or 3 banks that are big enough to not fail, right? So I think this gives you more options and says like, well, okay. I think the interesting point here was that like, did they just federalize all banks? That was the question, right? Because by taking these steps and bailing out depositors like this for these banks, does that now mean that they have to do that for other banks, right? Like, what does this mean for the future of similar situations? Are all banks in the US now federally insured to be bailed out, at least from a depositor standpoint?
It can't happen in succession, it feels like, because this is coming from a fund that they paid money into. So if it happens once in a blue moon, maybe you have enough to cover a lot of that. But if it happens like every month, if it happens every 6 months, you probably don't have the same coverage from those type of funds that people pay into.
It's like Social Security runs out
a little bit. Yeah. At some
Each
point,
time you
or
dip
you can just
in.
print more, I guess. To Biggie's point.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's clear they're running out of tools, right? It's clear they're running out of tools, and it's clear that every time the shit hits the fan, they have a harder time justifying their actions, right?
Well, so doesn't this lead
coming up with
into
some narrative or way of framing it? It's insane.
But doesn't this lead directly into why a CBDC is probably inevitable
in our future? Yeah.
Or Bitcoin becomes a global reserve currency that the narrative is playing off of since the beginning. This has been the narrative since the beginning, but it's never played out like it has. This is just maybe a step forward in that direction. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but just GIF, we were talking in the GM Web3 morning show, like the narrative that brought a lot of people here that didn't really exist was royalties. Like that you saw right away.
But it did really exist, and like you can look at the numbers and the lives changed. So I push back on the positioning that it didn't really exist, because it did.
It didn't.
For
it's
a
like
while,
doing the opposite
until it didn't.
That's what I mean. I mean, like on chain, or the idea that this was something that was going to be here forever is what I'm trying to say existed. This is the way NFTs are. The royalties are paid out. Like that was the narrative. Bitcoin's narrative is when this shit happens, Bitcoin is here because it's not its monetary policy is set in code. And a lot of times we see it as a risk on asset in like these black swan events. In the COVID era, Bitcoin tanked. I'm talking like lost 50% of its value in March of 2020. In this environment, it seems to be not the case.
As far as visuals that you want to pull up, you could pull up the Bitcoin chart and see the 7-day on that is interesting. But also, if you look at I would love to look at the Polygon chart over the last 7 days, because that to me is an amazing visual where you see my prediction of $1 becoming the new floor holding. So
where's March here? Here, where's that? It's hard to even see it now. When you max out the Bitcoin chart, we're here. We can see all these different cycles. This is November of 2021. Where's the COVID crash?
The good old days.
Where's COVID?
You remember those days?
Lord.
It's a blip.
Yeah, probably there. It's probably there.
God.
Well, it looks like a blip now, but like at the time, that was a pretty cataclysmic drop from where it was.
Yeah,
so
like
50%.
Yeah. So it looks
more.
like based on that, 9,000 to 4,000 was the drop in a matter of a week.
50 to 60% drop. Yeah.
So I'll pull up the Polygon chart.
But it is crazy. It is crazy when you zoom out like that and look at that now. It looks like a blip, a little bit of a blip.
Yeah.
Like a big blip, but it looks like a blip, right? And that's pretty wild.
I can get behind the Bitcoin narrative, like here, like kind of it's catching hold. People are starting to understand maybe more and more that the traditional financial system, again, is not as safe as it seems to be. But these other crypto tokens, like a Polygon or an Ape coin or Solana, like that narrative doesn't play out for me. right? So even though, so like, let's look at this Polygon chart, but
Let's look at the
I'm
7-day.
worried
Look at the
about
7-day.
Look at 7-day. I'm
at the
more worried
7-day.
about these because these don't have the same.
Sure, but that's
They're
the
fully
point.
risk on.
The point I'm trying to make is a prediction I made over the last 6 to 8 months that at a certain point you're not going to be able to get Polygon under $1, and it hit $1, dropped to 95 cents, and then immediately recovered the dollar and has been pumping back up. So look. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of this prediction because, I didn't see anybody else calling $1 as early as we were on this network.
Facts. All right. Is your friend's name Pablo, Biggie, on Twitch?
Yeah, Pablo. What's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, he says Twitch crowd tuning in. We appreciate you wherever you're watching or listening to us right now. If it's Twitter, if it's Spotify, if it's Twitch, we appreciate you guys so much. Leave a like on today's episode. It definitely helps us get out the good word with what's going on here. All right, any last kind of wrap up thoughts here? We pretty much dedicated the whole episode to an albeit important topic. So I think we can kind of spend a little bit more time here and then get to some other medium-sized topics related to this.
I don't have anything else to say about it right now. I liked Mike Finch's perspective on like give it 60 days to see if the narrative holds that like. That Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever crypto is actually a more viable alternative than a lot of TradFi people had maybe been giving it credit for. Because that's going to be really interesting. Because I do see how these black swan events keep stacking up, as TradFi keeps showing its weaknesses, it seems to add more and more credibility to the thesis. Satoshi's thesis that we need a more reliable code-based alternative.
Biggie, any last takes?
No, man, I agree. It's the same. The only advice is I would urge everybody just move with caution if you do and make any moves at all. This is a perfect time to just sit and watch.
Well, it seems like a lot of people are doing that, right? Because you pulled up that NFT statistics tweet that showed, the active NFT wallets buying and trading was at basically an all-time low, or like almost back to 2 years ago or a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Before the last thing I'll say on this SVB stuff before we get into the activity that's happening in the NFT space today is this actually happened with teams losing out their ability to have any runway because of their practices of either putting it in SVB or putting it in Coinbase and potentially not having access to it. This actually happened in 18 and 17 with the ICO era, with teams raising a bunch of money, keeping it in ETH, and essentially like losing out. So that was actually the negative effect, right? We're talking about maybe Bitcoin and Ethereum having a great and stable, if not like upwards movement because of its, features being like sound money and all this stuff. Well, the ICO era had the exact opposite effect. You literally had teams raising 4 million that turned into 20 million that turned into 500 grand. And like, it's just interesting where teams, treasury management is such a not talked about piece to this. Like, are teams just going to keep, like, where does Doodles go if they can't, get their funds out via Coinbase? Like, where does a big project off ramp, let alone us? Where does a big project off ramp?
We're a big project, Q. Come on. No, it's a good point, and I think what it makes me want to talk more about. But again, we don't have to do this here. But I think it's going to be really relevant to the conversation again over the next month or two. Is again the concept of sound money, ultrasound money. Like, why do those things matter? And like, why do things like the merge and the development happening on Ethereum make a difference now? What makes money sound and or ultrasound versus what fiat's been doing? And and those types of theories start to play out in situations like this.
We talked about this on the morning show. Libra tried to launch a currency, a stable coin, if you will, off of like a more diversified asset than USD. Of course, USD isn't diversified; it's just based on. What is US? This is where we're at in this conversation. What is USDC based on? Like the idea that we have a great military and we could just print, and they're going to, create good policies and have good people. Like there's no actual backing. So so Libra being created by potentially Meta and what Mark Zuckerberg was doing was bringing together multiple assets. That sounds like the answer to this problem. What did they do to Libra?
Killed it. I want to take this moment. I want to take this moment to just say, despite what anything that Nifty Q has said so far, we fully support our men and women at arms and all of our military folks here in the U.S. 1,000%. We are for
both my parents are retired military, so I got you guys on that. Don't worry on that. Nick Sorvis is saying it's based on pixie dust. It seems more real.
Little salt-based sprinkle on it.
All right, we're gonna let Biggie go here relatively shortly. We've got about 15 minutes left in the episode. I'm gonna pull up that tweet GIF. We had this from NFT Statistics, a great Twitter profile, Punk9059. So what are we getting from this? It says Saturday there were only 11,000 distinct wallets buying NFTs, down from the high in 2021.
Well, what I get from it is exactly what Biggie said, is that, like, he said, be careful right now, right? Don't be necessarily jumping in or FOMOing and or panicking. And to me, I see a lot of people just like taking their hands off the triggers and just being like, let's all take a day. Let's take a breather. Obviously there's still people, trading and shit a little bit, but you see a lot of people deciding to take a mental health break like I did, and step away, which, seems to be the right move.
Beneficial.
Yeah, because again, it's like you walk in Monday and it seems like nothing's as bad as it seemed 24 to 48 hours ago.
Yeah.
But, are we still going to be seeing a lot of the negativity, the downside from this? Again, I actually think Mike Finch's tweet, his little thread there, was great because, he addresses the fact that, like, look, this could be part of another downward leg. We're clearly not yet cleared for a bull market at this point, so you got to be careful what you're doing here. But that there is a lot of potential for this to not coerce, but like influence the Fed's next steps in a more friendly, direction.
Friendly would not be the word. It's more like cautious. I mean, cautious, right now with their interest rate hikes and how they play this thing out, because they are playing with fire. And I think they're very conscious that their credibility is on their last leg, and so, but at the same time, I mean, they're out for blood. And I think like they're definitely looking at this space as the patsy, the one to point the finger at. And it's crazy to me because I think like this is, we are the last, hand.
We all know that. Yeah, we all know that crypto caused COVID in the first place. So
crypto is the source of all greed and corruption in the world. The thing is,
as a matter of fact, crypto was also responsible for the 2008 crisis, if I recall. I think also, if you go back far enough, and if you look close enough, I believe actually crypto was the reason for the Great Depression. Most people don't talk about that, Q.
You're right. You know what? Crypto was originally the reason Eve told Adam to bite into the apple.
Facts.
I think.
Yeah.
Yo, thank you for saying it.
Check out this NFT.
Yo, she was like, just take a bite of this Apple NFT.
All right. Squashman saying Token Proof just announced Coinbase Power Wallet. We'll get to that announcement. I have it pulled up on my screen. Here's one thing that really sucks. I don't think financial literacy in this country, at least, is near where it needs to be for people to understand what just happened, for them to be like, oh, crypto's actually a good alternative to what's happening here. It'll just be,
but it's a convenient boogeyman to point your finger at if you don't understand shit that's going on. So
it's amazing. It's like, oh, this must have been crypto. Look at, oh, you know who else got fucked in this, Biggie? I don't know if you saw who had money in SVB. Who had about $400 million in SVB? Guess. It was a company that already went bankrupt that me and you are having to deal with the fallout personally. Our wallets were hit by this.
CoinDesk?
No.
Not
It was
CoinDesk.
fucking BlockFi.
BlockFi. That was the one.
No.
They're gonna be made whole, bro. They're gonna be made whole on this.
Just BlockFi can't catch a fucking break, man. Fuck.
But it's their fault because they're crypto.
Okay. Yeah, no, 100%. All right, token proof here. We'll any thoughts here? We've teamed up with Coinbase to help simplify newcomers' journeys into Web3 and onboard the next 100 million users with the Coinbase-powered token proof wallet. Users will be able to make the most of their experience as they enter the space. So, is this a MetaMask competitor? Is that what we're getting at? Obviously, it's a wallet.
Looks like it.
So it looks like maybe
I hope so.
Hey, Nifty Q, this is your big day, bro.
This is my time to shine. The days of lengthy and phrases and the days of lengthy seed phrases and complex onboarding are over. Email address is all you need in order to snag a token-proof wallet. That sounds safe. And start paying for food and merch with crypto. Minting NFTs at brick-and-mortar stores are unlocking exciting interactive experiences.
So, do you want a Web 2.5 wallet like this to be your main wallet? Like, wouldn't you still want to have a fully decentralized wallet in addition to this? Like this seems basically like having just a Coinbase wallet or a marketplace wallet where it's like anything you keep on it is at risk.
There was like that ERC, correct me if I'm wrong, 4457.
Yeah, that's
4337.
43.
You're talking about the new new ERC standard.
So I know there was like some wallet onboarding feature that was added to that where like they're not going to have seed phrases. I wonder what this looks like. What is it like? Seed phrases suck.
Well, I think I
necessary.
think they said that it would be decentralized seed phrases like through social recovery, right? Very much like what Argent was doing, right? That's what I understood from it, from the little bit I've read up on it. But I'm excited for it, man. I think it like that definitely looks like what Give was talking about, which is like a decentralized solution, right? Like at the protocol level. So I'm excited, man. I think that will definitely have some massive implications in the space. And man, honestly, I'm just glad people are working on it. You know, somebody's got to solve that shit.
Okay, a couple great comments came through, and we'll take that into the rest of the conversation. Nick Sorb is saying only like 116 active wallets when you remove Machi. Let me make sure I get that. Jimmy, Pranksy, and Dingling. To that point, we saw Machi. Farmers. Yeah, we saw Machi really get involved in Gitcoin, and we were covering Gitcoin as, you know, it had just launched. It got to like a 0.4 floor. Look at this stat from NFT Statistics. Doing a great job, NFT Statistics. Not that you need my my praise. In fewer than 6 days, Gitcoin has done more total trades than Bored Ape Yacht Club has ever done in its entire lifetime, around 620 days. Neither were free mints. Both started trading around 0.1. And then if we go into Gitcoin, it's sitting at that 0.1 floor price. So
does this mean it's interesting now, or what is it's just a fascinating stat? I have to follow up with this on like recent projects that we've been like sort of covering over the last week or two. Apparently I did end up getting one of those owls, the like ASCII owls. I put in what I thought was a low bid on Blur, but as that one tanked, it got accepted for way higher than the floor prices. Now, guess who that one was bought from?
Machi.
No, it's Pranksy. So I got one of Pranksy's owls. No, I got one of Pranksy's owls. Thanks, friend, for offloading that one to me for 3x the floor price.
Jesus.
You gonna be okay? Are you okay?
I'll live because you know what? I got a cool little owl made out of slashes and periods.
So, Biggie, I don't know if you saw Gitcoin Presents. Did this if you
I
did this
man.
have like immediate red flags for you? Or were you like,
No, man, I honestly got a little bit of FOMO when I saw it because I was like mid-flight. And so it's not like I could mint or do anything. All I could do is like read Twitter. And I saw it, and just like obviously I was like, oh, Vitalik, Gitcoin. I'm a big supporter of Gitcoin. I love them. I wasn't able to read the details or anything, but all I saw was like Vitalik involved. You know, I was like, I mean, yeah, I was pretty annoyed that I wasn't able to buy in, right? But I was saved in the end, right? From all of this stuff. It's honestly, it's good to sit on your hands sometimes.
Yeah,
I've
feeling
missed a
that
couple
way.
of things. Yeah.
everybody's got to be exit liquidity at some point.
Well, there's this project
Sort of.
Saison. So there's this project Saison right now that's like minting and revealing that actually. So real quick, we should hit on this. There's a new meta that like we picked up on this morning, which is these multiple stage reveals, which basically it gamifies the reveal process to string out the speculation longer by having multiple steps in the reveal. And so you can kind of like hone in on which ones are more rare than others through different, visuals and like different iterations of the metadata. Yeah. So it strings out the mint and the reveal process and gamifies that. I think it's a pretty unique idea because then you can like know like, oh, this one's going to be more rare than this one. You still don't know what it is, but you can keep speculating longer and keep the floor pumping on a new project that's minted. So that's actually a new thing because apparently Saison is not the first project that's done that. There's been a couple lately that are starting to play around with this idea. And I think it's innovative, it's interesting, and it's another way that NFTs can maintain some of that momentum longer, which is an issue. Again, that's what Blur did with their airdrop, and why they've been so successful is because they didn't just do like a one-off thing and it's done and then whatever. They've found a way to gamify it and string it out over now the better part of a year. It's going to be fucking going for years. This airdrop with Blur is going to be the longest airdrop that has ever fucking happened because they're going to string it out as long as they can. But projects that can find ways to do that to maximize that momentum and the attention that they get around a big drop or something like that. It's really smart and it seems to be working.
It's weird. It's like it's creative and innovative, yeah, to a degree. But then again, like the end goal always seems to be like, I don't know. It makes me think of all those like tantric teachers, that are like, have like 3,000 orgasms in the span of an hour, right? Or prolong ejaculation for however long, dude.
Tantric.
But in the end, it's like in the end, it's all about the climax, and all these fucking things always end up in a dud. That's the thing. Like I feel like they're meant, like you said, to string you out, to capture your anticipation and prolong the like your attention span, like to focus on this. But in the end, you just don't get that release, that we're all looking for. I feel like I haven't seen anybody do it proper.
Doodles could learn a little bit from this though, because what seems to be happening with them is the exact opposite. They have these like micro events where they capture a lot of attention and then it just like dies out over time and they don't communicate at all. So they could actually learn something from these like long-term events.
I agree because you would think with the amount of quality that they have and the amount of things that they are developing, they should have more inertia at this point. Like they should be picking up momentum as they do this. And I agree. It seems like it's like, oh, a bunch of attention. Maybe it lasts for a week and then it's like gone. Yeah. It's just dead. Yeah. How are they capturing and capitalizing on that attention and that momentum to keep it going and building on it? I agree. I think Doodles could learn a lot from these types of gamified, extended, tantric. I like the using the term tantric.
Yeah, dude.
These tantric mechanisms. Yeah, these tantric drop mechanisms. Maybe we're coining a new term here together, Biggie. Tantric drop mechanisms.
Oh,
tantric drops.
Yeah,
oh,
if that
shit.
shows up, we know who stole it. We see you guys in chat. Quantum Variants loving the chat as well. I want to get to the volume over the last 7 days here. Moonbird's taking the top spot in the last 7 days. So wrapped CryptoPunks we haven't touched on yet. Mutant Ape, other D's boarded. So like Yuga, you got Gitcoin, Azuki. Some weird stuff is happening with MG Land, I've been told, where they're like artificially pumping the volume there on Blur. So we're supposed to have a summoning here in like the next 2 or 3 days. Like that's the Sewer Pass summoning is happening in 2 or 3 days. Have we had any announcement?
Is there anything I need to do, Q? Like I've been sleeping, bro. Is there anything I need to do? Am I ready?
So we're gonna get into the Yuga Labs show portion of the episode because we do have the 12-fold release that some people have been throwing some shade at. Oof, so we have a varying amount of assets or a varying degree of assets. You see some 12-folds here again. I guess I could go to the actual. I would like to visualize these in their native form, not on Twitter. But you can see there's a varying degree of these 12-folds. So some are better than others. Again, they're all.
I love generative. The different images that people are throwing in as like, oh my god. Yo.
So yeah. So that's quit flooding these people's bags. Come on, man. They just put 2 Bitcoin into this shit and everybody's just already destroying it. So this place is I think I'm done. This place is too toxic. I can't. I'm fucking done. I'm out. This is my last show. It's been nice knowing y'all. How do I go to an inscription collection on ordinals?
We need to get Mark back on the channel, dude.
God damn it.
Get his opinion.
Yeah, we should bring him back. He was great.
This is so intuitive. Yeah.
This is so user friendly.
All right, so what do we think here? We fud Yuga here?
Nah, man,
you could fud it.
You never fade Yuga.
Well, you never fade it, but you can fud it.
Yeah, all right.
So here we go.
I mean, I'm not too informed about what's been going on. I just saw that they were, doing this on ordinals and generative art, and I mean, I thought it was great. From what I've read from people that are supposed insiders, is that this is a small part of like a bigger picture thing. So I don't know. It remains to be seen what they plan to do with it. No, you guys should be more in the know.
It's just a thumbs down. Just fuck this.
I didn't buy into 12 folds because it's too. Yeah,
this is too rich for my blood. But I think on the never fade. Look, we can FUD it and have fun with it right now. But do you remember how many people, when we were aping around in Clubhouse making monkey noises, how many people were FUDding Bored Apes back then? There was a lot of people that was like, this is dumb. I don't get it. I think it's stupid. And if we've learned anything from what Yuga does and what they know how to do, they know how to execute incredibly well. So I'm not going to sit here. Like, again, the art to me is just so. Like, some of them look kind of cool. Some of them look kind of like meh. That's one thing. Again, like, yeah, I would probably prefer that, like, the art was a little bit cooler if I was going to spend that much, but I don't think that's the point here. Honestly, I think the art is just kind of a small part of this. The bigger part is having this inscription, this token, and being part of Yuga's entry into Bitcoin. That's what I think. But who knows? Could be wrong. Mm-hmm. We've been wrong about a lot of things. But I think it's very early. It's so convenient and easy to just shit on things to try and get fucking likes and farm engagement on Twitter. Twitter fucking, it just encourages
especially
people
to,
dude, whatever. Let's not even go there.
Engagement.
But bro, people are just encouraged on Twitter by the algorithm to just go fucking shout nonsense when they have no fucking clue what's going on and find anything wrong with anything. And I feel like that's a big part of this. It's just like, hey, what's popping off? What's okay? Sure, yeah, that's fair.
Could have been.
That's fair. It is what it is. I think it's early to say that like they're not interesting or valuable or whatever.
So Don R saying best news in NFTs, 3 hosts back together. I needed some goodness. Nick Sorvis is saying I'll put some USDC down that the summoning will not happen on time. So this is it. This is the website here. This is the roadmap, quote unquote.
That's that Yuga FUD.
It says March 15th is supposed to be the summoning. We haven't gotten anything. No notice. We did get an announcement about the other side trip, which is happening on March 25th. So that is going to be the second trip. We will be live streaming that on the channel. But nothing about the summoning, nothing about the next evolution for these sewer passes. I am definitely kind of upset that not upset. What's the word I'm looking for? I just had a mind blank. Surprised. I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't come out with anything, seeing as it's literally like less than 72 hours away from this supposedly going down, this summoning piece. Squashman saying ape staking Q1 rewards wrapping up as well. It's not that big a dip on this Q1 drop. It is a bigger dip after Q2. So it's going to be...
Do you think it would be so bad if they prolonged it or like, change the date? I mean, of course, there's going to be fudders and people saying that it's going down and blah, 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 but I think it'd be smart. It's not exactly the most kind environment right now to be doing this, right?
That's a good point. Here we go.
Yeah, so we're on the Ordinal Hub
like
now. We've been able to find it. Yeah.
Look at that art. Come on.
Just man.
Look at that amazing art. I like those rainbow ones. I like the ones with the red background.
I like
those
the
are
red
pretty
background.
cool. Yeah, those are pretty nice. Are any of them flipping yet for like lower or more? Is there a floor? Is there a live floor we can look at, or is that doesn't even exist?
Do we want to really attempt this live on stream? Trending.
Yes.
12-fold here. Supply range. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no live floor is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. Yo.
Not on Bitcoin.
We're still early, but we are like early on Bitcoin. Dude, we gotta Q and Biggie, between us, we gotta find a smart way to somehow get into Bitcoin ordinals. The smartest thing would have been for us to buy our own info and alpha and buy stacks back when we were talking about it on the network. But I feel like we already may have missed that boat. So we got to figure out, y'all, and let us know in the comments too, any really, really good sources, ways to get into Bitcoin, because it is so early on the ordinals. I feel like now is a good time to try and like get a couple things or, prospect a little bit, but I still don't feel like I don't know enough.
I think we might have missed the stacks wave, up 32% today, up 200% since we talked about it. Fun time. Yeah. Just great. Just great. Great for everyone that won there. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. No, go ahead. It happens to everybody.
I was about to just make a side comment and be like, anybody catch Last of Us? But all right. Anyway. All right. How about the Yankees or whatever? Yeah.
How about that weather outside? After Q2, y'all can come join me at MCDs again. So back to the ape staking real quick. There was a strong drop. I'm interested in like the long-term look of this with ape staking as the rewards get less. I'd love to like talk to somebody like bigger brain than I am, but you're getting less supply shock with the drop in supply. Obviously the stakers are getting less ape that they can then sell. Is that better? Are people unstaking because then it's not as profitable? I think there's a bunch of different debates within that. But yes, the drop after the first 3 months isn't as bad. So we'll have another 3 months essentially of pretty good APYs. I mean, ape staking has been great for those trying to take advantage. Even people without apes have been able to get in and be a part of this. What is the
drop? What is the drop exactly?
This drop, so Q1 to Q2, it was like a 20% drop. Okay. 15% drop. It wasn't that bad. So if your APY was like around 152%, or 150%, you drop to like 130, 125.
So I think the interesting. Okay, look. The other thing just to mention on this again, because when this was all happening and like launching, like it's a huge deal. Nobody knew how it was going to go. I think again, so far it appears like this is going tremendously well. I think to me the unfortunate part about how well this has been going is that because of the unclear, climate, let's say that regulatorily speaking, if that's a word, it doesn't seem like a lot of others are joining in on the staking, party right now. And so to me, it's like, it's kind of conflicting news in that, like, on one hand, you've got this massive experiment with ApeCoin staking going live very smoothly overall, has been very successful for the most part, as far as I can tell. And yet we are not seeing more people doing similar things right now as I would have expected or anticipated with a big success. But again, it's like, I think the reason being a lot of regulatory confusion, maybe let's put it. Yeah. Uncertainty. That's the word, around things like, securities and staking and all this shit. Right.
Dude, thank God Gutter Cats didn't launch a token. Could you imagine what the evisceration of that token will look like based on like a lot of different factors? But goddamn, that I just think projects aren't big enough to support that. Like there's really there's a handful of projects that could support it. Moonbirds even pulled back on saying that, hey, we're not
100%.
launching a token.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smart move, I think.
It's also in that context, Q, it separates Bored Apes and Yuga even further from a lot of other projects and the competition, right? Because if they basically like crossed, we talk a lot about complexity chasm. If they crossed the staking chasm before like a lot of this uncertainty kind of came in, or were able to just keep going through the uncertainty when everybody else is basically like the barrier is stopping them, like, what does that mean for, Apes and Yuga at this point? They were already separate, from a lot of them. To me, I mean, it just establishes them at literally in like a very concrete way at a whole different tier from everybody else.
Yeah. There's a lot of traders in this space, as we've seen. We watch Machi completely like have Gitcoin on his books, like 10% of the supply. Like this space is trader heavy, and tokens are a part of that. And so if you can launch a token and have it be successful, you're gonna have a little bit more interest in your project. That's kind of the way crypto works.
Did we highlight Swervis's comment yet?
We did.
All right, cool.
We did. Okay, listen, it's like 2 a.m., maybe a little bit later, Biggie's time. So we are going to get up out of here for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll let my beautiful co-hosts here have the last word. We appreciate you so much. Leave a like on the episode. It definitely helps us, just proliferate the message of Web3 and getting what we want to do out. So we thank you guys so much. Our vibe, our tribe.
You gotta like the video. Like, Biggie's here, so smash the like for our homie, our good friend on the other side of the world right now, showing up at 2 a.m. to come and talk to us. Biggie, this is not the time. I do not want you to spiral on this, but you got to come back soon. You got to come back soon because I want to hear your Ryan Carson take. Not now.
Oh shit!
But next time,
shit, I forgot.
Next time,
You can't
Biggie.
leave me with that.
Next time,
Okay.
you got to come back
Well,
and let us know on that one, and I'll say our vibe, our tribe.
Yeah, for sure. And all the homies in chat, my two co-hosts, I love you. I missed you. And yes, I will be back soon enough to talk RC and God knows what else. Hopefully, no more fucking like extinction events or potential extinction events. All right, that would be nice. We can just talk on POAPs and fucking AI experts and whatever.
Just rainbows
my
and
big one.
candy.
Fucking yeah. Got enough. Love you guys. Peace out.